All right, you ready for this humdinger of a story regarding my ear? Last Tuesday, I finally went to urgent care because the previous Friday I woke up and my ear was clogged. And sometimes it unclogs, like dissipates, and other times it doesn't. I had no pain. It was just, I have limited hearing in this ear anyway from a lavage I got as a childhood that went wrong. So when this ear gets a little bit of earwax in it, it can greatly affect my perception. My face feels swollen even though it's not. So finally on Tuesday, I went to urgent care. And they said I had a fever of like 100 even. I didn't even feel feverish. I had no pain. I had no other symptoms on my body. It was just, hey, my ear is clogged. I probably need a lavage. And then time will tell if it's infected or anything. So the doctor comes in and looks in this ear, and then looks in this ear. And said, oh, this ear, this is the one that's not a problem, is a little red. Okay. When in this ear, she's like, it is red. It is looking inflamed. There is, I think she's like, it's probably a double infection. So I'm like, so it's an inner and outer or something? She said, but it's not enough wax to need a lavage. There's no blockage. It's got to be the inflammation that is making the ear feel clogged. I said, okay. She goes, so we're going to do ear drops for the infection and Flonase nasal spray just to help open passages and the eustachian tubes and everything. And I said, okay, sounds good, because I've gotten ear drops before. I've never gone a sinus, nasal spray before, but okie dokie. So this urgent care no longer gives you discharge papers to go home with. They don't give you documentation of your prescriptions. They will email it to you. And I went in at 4:30. I was seen by 6:30, and I didn't get my discharge paperwork until 10 p.m. emailed. And between that 6:30 and 10, I went to the pharmacy to get my prescription, and they said, well, your insurance denied the Flonase because the prescription was the same amount as over the counter. I said, okay. I go, when will my eardrops be ready? And they're like, what eardrops? There's no eardrops called in. So then I tried calling the urgent care and was put on hold over and over again. And by then the pharmacy was closed, then urgent care closed, and I still had no eardrops. And then when the discharge paperwork was sent to my email that I received then at 10 p.m., it diagnosed me with sinusitis. She didn't even look up my nose and only had down the Flonase of a spray, 2 sprays in each nostril 1 time a day for 7 days. I said, there is no mention anywhere about my ear, the reason I went in. So I called urgent care the next day. Well, I called the pharmacist the next day just to go, hey, eardrops? Nope. Okay. Called urgent care, and it was a different doctor for that day than the one I had seen, because they rotate in this urgent care company locations. So, the front desk put me on hold to speak to the doctor, and that doctor was like, you were diagnosed with sinusitis. Why do you want eardrops? And I said, I don't understand the diagnosis, because I came in with an ear problem. And it was, well, there's no documentation of an ear thing, so you're more than welcome to come back in and get evaluated again and pay another $75. And I said, I don't like that. And the person at the front desk said, well, call tomorrow, because the doctor you saw initially will be on call tomorrow. So that would put me at Thursday of last week. So I said, okay. So I called and I said, I'm calling because the doctor I saw on Tuesday is in today, and they saw me for an ear problem, but diagnosed me with sinusitis, and the documentation doesn't list my eardrops. Well, the doctor is busy and has a bunch of phone calls to make, so she'll call you back. Well, no phone call back. And then was, in the meantime, you're more than welcome to come in. Well, I did go in the next day. I went in on Saturday. I didn't go in on Friday because my mom had to go to the rheumatologist. It just didn't work out. So I went in on Saturday, and it was a different doctor there. And she came in the room. She's like, so are you here because you have a new symptom from your sinusitis? I said, no, I don't understand the sinusitis. And I explained everything. She goes, well, let's just look at you. Let's just start from scratch. Looked in the good ear. It looks fine. Looked in the bad ear, and she said, oh, this is too clogged. I can't even see your eardrum. We need to give it a lavage. And I pretty much knew that. I said, well, on Tuesday, that doctor said it was clear. I didn't have enough wax to need a lavage. She's like, well, you certainly do now. And I think I always needed one. So they do the lavage, and it immediately alleviates the pressure. I developed ringing in the ear. That went away. So then she was able to look in it and says, yes, you do have an ear infection. You are very inflamed, and let's get you some ear drops. And I said, for real? For real? Yes, for real. Continue the Flonase, but we're going to add in this Cipro, like steroid. And it was actually called in, and I started it, and I'm still on it. But I mean, I'm just very confused with the initial not appointment because it's a walk-in, but the initial visit of, if you looked at my paperwork, from my discharge paperwork from that first visit, you would think I had a sinus problem. There's no mention whatsoever I went in for my ear. I don't understand. Anyway, I'm on the mend. Luckily, I don't have pain. It's just getting rid of this ear infection, which, if you've been here a while, you know I get them often. So that's that. Just thought I would share that confusion, because why not? All right. I hope you guys are doing okay, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.